My name is Right Honorable Afam Obi, Lord of St. John. I am the former Deputy Speaker of Anambra State and presently Chairman, Media and Publicity, Tony Nwoye Campaign Organization. A friend of mine said, if it's not broken, why mend it? That's a beautiful statement. If it is not broken, Tony won't be contesting. If it is broken, we will go mend it. But what we have on our hand is that Anambra State is broken to pieces. So it can't be mended anymore. And when things are broken to pieces, shattered, what you do is replacement. So Tony is running because we need to replace the governance and the governor that has broken to pieces in Anambra State. You could also want to know, why has he broken to pieces? 4 years ago, this young man, a brilliant man, sufficiently qualified, international accountant, banker, money manager, was introduced to us. And we thought it was going to be the best thing that will happen to Anambra State from the government house. 3.5 years on, of the 177 communities in Anambra State, there is nothing that he can point to in 176 communities. He can only talk about what he has done in Aguleri, a section of Aguleri. But in 176 communities, nothing can be pointed to as a project started and finished in 3.5 years. Check this, add to this, a starting base of 76 billion. Well, even if we don't like to believe 76 billion, former Governor Peter Obi has gone to Supreme Court and made an affidavit about what he left. What the challenge there is, he wants to be jailed for perjury, if anybody can contradict him. So we're expecting Governor Willie Obiano to go to Supreme Court and make an affidavit that no, Peter did not leave that amount. Then one of them will go to jail for perjury. But if he is not taking up the challenge of Peter Obi, it means that Peter left all the things he left for him. So starting from a base of 75 billion in money, clear money, whatever they are, plus all the things that has come into the state and all the things that has come through the local government, all the Paris fund, or the Paris Club refund, everything that has come through ecological fund, and everything that has come through internally generated fund. Nothing has been done with this money, and yet Anambra State has gone into debt of close to 60 billion. So, if a guy has done this in his first 4 years, when he expects to go back to the people and present himself and his scorecard and say, I have done X, Y, Z, please revalidate my mandate so I can complete X, Y, Z. If this is how he has run his first term, if we give him a second term, who will be able to hold him down? Even the salary he says he's paying now, he may not be able to pay the salary, and he will be accountable to nobody. So let us agree in unison that this has broken to pieces and can no more be mended, and it needs to be replaced. And that is why we have brought Tony Nwoye to replace it, create a challenge for the youth of this state, redirect the direction of government, reposition governance in Anambra State, and for once give Anambra State a proper semblance of governance. Can I say this in Igbo?
Sure.
Onye ọbụla ka ọgbụ a boy almost boy everything, right? If you go to a village, ikpata ego carry your mates, a man will go, right? Tony went to the university. The officer in the university that was in charge of cultism came out boldly and said, every cultist in that school, he knows. Because he was in charge of their relationship. That of all the names that featured in cultism in that school, there is none that is Tony Nwoye. So I can stand and tell you that Tony Nwoye was never a cultist. cannot be a cultist. You can't be two things at the same time. This is a student activist, a student leader who's running anti-cult. How can he then be a cultist and then operating anti-cult?
Yes, sir.
All these are political talks.
All right. Sir, it is said that APC is an anti-Igbo party. What do you have to say about this, sir?
Wonderful. When it suits our opponents, APC becomes anti-Igbo. When it doesn't suit them, it becomes a national party. The only anti-Igbo party I know is APGA. Because it is the party that has blocked the Igbos from connecting to the center. It is the party that has made the Igbos core minorities in Nigeria. It is the party that has denied the Igbos being one of the tripods on which Nigeria stands. That's the only Igbo party. What we have in Nigeria are national parties. There's no Hausa party, there's no Yoruba party, there's no Ejwa party. They are national parties. The only one that stands against the progress of the Igbo man is called APGA. And we need to retire them. Stop all that madness. Put it in the dungeon where it belongs and connect with the rest of Nigeria. Let me tell you something you don't understand. If President Buhari does 8 years, recall that the Yorubas have done their presidency, the South has done their presidency, the North has done their presidency. The next major ethnic group that needs to go and do presidency are the Igbos, the Southeast. We cannot do that coming from this toy party. We can only connect with the center, because to get to the presidency, we need every part of Nigeria. And APGA does not understand that. What he understands is local Barakba or local Barakba unionism. That's it. That can take us there.
Thank you very much. Sir, do you believe in his agenda to improve on governance in Anambra State?
I can tell you that if he does, if I don't believe in the agenda, I won't be doing what I'm doing for him. Tony says it that education is the bane for development, is the crux for developing any system. And so he identifies that in this state, there are very poor people whose parents cannot afford to educate. It becomes the problem of the burden of the society, of the government to educate them. And so he has said, for children in primary school, free education. For everybody who's gone to secondary school, in public school, if you can't afford WAEC fee, the government will pay your WAEC fee. Why is he doing this? So that everybody who needs to get education will have to get education. You understand? And now, go beyond education. Tony is a medical doctor. He has looked at the Anambra State health system and has broken this thing down to three. Primary health care, secondary health care, and tertiary health care. In the primary health care, which is what we have in the local areas, he wants to strengthen it, he wants to stabilize it, he wants to improve it, to be able to handle issues that develop in our communities. At this point, our general hospitals, which belong to the secondary health care, are not general hospitals, they are general mortuaries. Because the only functional thing in them are the mortuaries. We can't afford this. Okay? So Tony, as a medical doctor, has decided that if he becomes governor, he will strengthen the general hospitals, make them a reference hospital from the primary health care, right? And it will serve the people. So if your ailment goes beyond the capacity of these ones, you will go to the health centers to consult a doctor and to be treated, not to die and to be put in a mortuary. And on the tertiary side, tell me, Anambra State has a teaching hospital. UNIZEC, which is a federal school, also has a teaching hospital in Anambra State. Why would we take all the pains to train doctors and paramedics and not be able to employ them, to give them employment, when there's so much to do in the state on health? So Tony has decided to refurbish the tertiary health institution, redirect it, fund it properly, train the people properly, give them accredited courses, help them accredit all their courses, and employ them on qualification so that we will find doctors to attend to the needs of Anambra people. Go beyond that. He is a youth, so he understands the problems of youths. We say, oh, the youths are the leaders of tomorrow. But if they are not prepared and equipped for tomorrow, how can they lead? If our youths only end up as thugs, as political PAs, and all of those things, how can they lead tomorrow? So Tony wants to re-empower the youths. Teach them skills. Take them down to the nitty-gritties that support life. The way forward is agriculture. Take the youth into agriculture, empower them, teach them that, provide them money to take off, provide them take-off grants, monies that are cheap at cost, and guide them on how to make a success out of farming. Just because farming is one lucrative business but has not been identified or given full value or full attention in this state. Tony identifies that, and he wants to do exactly that. Now, I keep saying to people that in a country like America, United States, the young whites, tilt towards proficiency in ICT, in medicine, engineering, and so many other things. You find the whites, the blacks, going to film acting, music, and sports. And in that, they have also excelled and equaled the rest. They have their own billionaires and millionaires. What it means is that Tony wants to make Anambra State a net exporter of sporting talents. In the time past, we used to have the Onyales, the Ezima brothers, and all of them, from the Christian Chukwu time, you will go to Green Eagles, and you will find that 80%, 90% of them are from the Igbos. All right, Igbo nation. Now, because somebody took time to develop their talents. So what Tony wants to do is help the youths develop their talents across the board and use that to empower the youths. So he wants to fight unemployment, not with police, not with army, not with guns. He wants to fight that with jobs and empowerment and good direction.
All right, thank you very much, sir. Sir, one more question. What do you have to say? What is your advice to people of Anambra State?
My dear people of Anambra State, all of us want the best for this state, and that is why we are in this game. If we want the best, we have to do the best, because nobody from Edo or Ekiti or Taraba or Adamawa will come and do it for us. We are the people who have to take our faith in our hands and reposition our state. And we're saying that we look at the field. There are so many tired bones. Some people have retired twice. Somebody has worked in the UN, retired, come back to the state, served as secretary to the government, retired. And this is a tired bone. And once again, to come and start a job as tedious as being a governor, it's not going to work. Now we find another guy who's retired from the banks, gone back to the oil industry, came back to the banks again and retired the second time, went to rest his tired bones. They pulled him back to governance, and the result is what we have seen today, that is not working. In Tony Nwoye, we have found a youth who is passionate about redirecting, redeveloping, revitalizing Anambra State. We have found a youth who has the vigor, the energy, the head to develop Anambra State. And that is where we need to invest if we love this state. And I assure you, we truly, truly love Anambra State. So let us invest in the young man who can take us to the next stage. Not people who will consider Anambra State as retirement benefits. We need to go away from that syndrome and invest in the youth for the future of ourselves and our children and children's children.
All right, thank you very much, sir. I appreciate it, sir. Nice.
Thanks, man. Thanks.